Many, many years ago, I used to power lift. I competed and wore them funky little singlets and everything. And when I was first getting started, I would read a lot about how it is that I should be training and what I should be focusing on, the best ways to increase the bench and the squat and the deadlift and everything like that. Now, at the time, it wasn't, well, maybe it was, but I didn't know about it. It wasn't a great deal of YouTube, so I would read articles on it was Elite FTS was the website at the time. Bunch of stuff by Dave Tate and Jim Wendler. And they would talk a lot about the importance of having a good gym that has the proper equipment, bars with good knurling, deadlift jacks, dumbbells to go up higher, and things like that. Now, at the time, I was working out at a commercial gym. And when I was there, I was, at least as far as I can see from the people that I saw at the various hours that I was in there, one of the strongest people in the gym. I had my little 455 deadlift and squatting like 365 or something at the time, and thought that I was really doing something because I didn't see anybody else lifting those kinds of weights. But as I got more serious about it and was getting prepared for my first competition, I decided to go and find myself a warehouse gym. It was this place called Fitness Factory in Charlotte. It's where I lived at the time. And when I got there, I saw all kinds of different people. There were much more serious lifters, so to speak. There a bunch of bodybuilders, like professional bodybuilders with their pro cards and all that, who were on all of the gear, as people call it, and also people who competed in powerlifting. I remember specifically the dude who worked at the front desk, and I think he was also a trainer there. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but anyway, he competed in powerlifting. He was a good 2 inches shorter than me. He was 5'5", 5'6". I'm 5'8". He weighed what I weighed. It was 180 at the time. But I saw him working out one day, and he was deadlifting over 600 pounds. And that made me realize that I was nowhere near as strong as I thought I was. I remember it was this big bodybuilder dude there, and he was doing lateral raises with the dumbbells with the 70s. And I was just blown away by that because I had never seen any sort of display of strength on that level, at least not in real life. And it was when I started going there that I realized that I wasn't doing anything close to what it was that I thought that I was doing. And if I really wanted to actually have a chance at being competitive, then I really had to step my game up. I had to push myself harder. And all of those people, being exposed to all of those people, seeing those people, made me realize what was truly possible if I was willing to put in the work. Because the difference between them and myself was how dedicated they were and how long that they had been training. I had spent so much time comparing myself to people who were nowhere near as serious or on the same type of thing, and thought that because I was doing better than them that I was doing something great. But as soon as I saw people who were doing something far greater than myself, I realized that that was not true. And that made me step my game up. That made me push myself harder. That made me take my training more seriously. And not only that, but it gave me now tangible, real goals to strive towards, because I saw what was possible. And I realized if this dude who's smaller than me can lift this much more than me, if I put in the work, then I can be lifting that as well. And this applies in all areas of life. I remember a few years after that, when I was flipping houses, I went and I rented a house. It was the biggest house that I had ever lived in. It was 24 some odd hundred square feet, and it had fancy floors and a granite countertops and a little island thing in the middle of the kitchen. First time I had ever lived around something like that, and it was really nice. It was a nice community, and I swore this is how the richest people in the world live, and I had finally made it, and I was doing something real big, because again, I had never seen anything bigger in real life. You know, you see like the MTV Cribs and stuff like that back in the day, or it was How I'm Living on BET, but those were really just more so concepts or ideas than anything practical and in real life. Anyway, so I remember I went to this investor guy's house, and had to be about 7,000 square feet. And when you walked through the garage, there was a whole entire basketball court, like not a half court, full court through the garage. And then you kept on going, and there was a whole entire other house attached to this house. There was like a guest house. It had its own kitchen and bathroom and 2 bedrooms as well. And the backyard was huge. It had a pool and a cabana and this little sitting area with all these chairs, this built-in kitchen outside. Then behind that, there was a tennis court, and behind that, there was this big, giant field, and the master bedroom itself had to be a good 1,600 square feet with views of the city skyline that I didn't even know was possible because it wasn't raised or up on a hill or anything like that. And that was the first time that I had ever experienced anything like that in real life. And that again let me know, man, you are not doing anything close to what it is that you think that you are doing. But it also again showed me that so much more was possible than what I initially thought. There was so much better that I could be living. There was so much more that I could be accomplishing. There was so much more that I could be doing if I kept applying himself. Because much like the people at the gym, the difference between him and myself was how hard he worked and how long that he had been doing the things that he was doing. And I had control over both of those things. I can work harder and I can dedicate the time to it. And those things will take me to wherever it is that I would like to go, and they will take anyone else to wherever it is that they would like to go as well. But you will never truly realize these things unless you expose yourself to people who are doing better than you in whatever avenue, whatever field it is that you would like that to be. It's one thing to see these things on TV or in the movies or the music videos or even on the vlogs and the Instagram posts and the YouTube videos or anything like that. And it's a whole entire other thing when you're exposed to these things in real life, because that takes it from a concept to reality. But most people are afraid to get around people who are doing that much better than them, because when you're around people who are doing that much better than you, what they do is they highlight your insufficiencies. They highlight the areas that you are lacking in. They highlight everything that you are not. And that scares most people, and it makes them feel insecure. That's where you hear this thing, what's the saying? Comparison is the thief of all joy. And I think that's nonsense. Well, it's true if you are a victim-minded individual and you are on some, oh, woe is me stuff, and you just look for ways to feel bad about yourself. But comparison is a beautiful thing if it can motivate you to improve yourself and to strive to be much more and push yourself harder than you are currently pushing. When you see that these other people have more than you, have better than you, then if you have the right mentality, it shows you that you too can have these things. But most people take it from a defeatist perspective and say, well, these people have all of this and I only have this, I'm not doing anything. And that makes them sad. But again, with the right mentality, you will take it and look at it and say, these people have so much better than me and they're doing so much more than me. I'm not doing anything, but I can be. I can be if I keep doing what it is that I am doing, if I do what it is that they are doing, if I push myself the way that they are pushing themselves, if I work the way that they are working, if I dedicate myself the way that they are dedicated, then I can have the things that they have as well. And they bring that, getting yourself around those people brings that thing into your reality, and now it becomes a part of your world, and it ingrains yourself in your subconscious. It's the law of exposure. It's a universal law. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. So when you see that there are people in so much better shape, now you know that that's something that can be attained. When you see that there are people who are making so much more money than you, you see that that can be attained. When you see that there are people who are living so much better than you, you see that that can be attained. And you exposing that to yourself will just motivate you and push you to do more if you have the right mentality around it. Rather than looking at it from the negative perspective and using it to feel bad about yourself, you use it as fuel and proof of concept, because having the idea and realizing and being fully aware that these things that you want are truly attainable and not just dreams, not just fantasies, not just lies made up and camera tricks and filters and all of that nonsense, then you can push yourself that much harder because you know that it is truly possible, and that just adds to your belief, because it is your belief in yourself that will allow you to be able to do all of the things that you never thought possible. Once you believe that you can actually accomplish these goals, that's what's going to push you. That's what's going to drive you on the days when you don't feel like doing any of the things that you need to do, because there are going to be plenty of those days, probably more of those days when you actually feel like doing it. But once you've been exposed to these things and you see that you could truly be living so much better, it becomes much more difficult to just sit around and accept your mediocre life, your mediocre physique, your mediocre bank account, your mediocre house or car, or whatever the case may be. Even if you're somebody who just wants to have an amazing, fulfilling, loving, happy relationship, when you see that there are people who truly in real life have those relationships and experience those things that you want to experience, then you know it's possible, and it makes it that much harder to settle for somebody who is not what it is that you want, somebody who's not right for you, someone who's not bringing that same sort of light into your life as you see other people receiving. One of the best things that you can do is get around people who are doing better than you. They will push you to be better, and they will make you realize that you could do more. And the saying, you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time around, is absolutely true. If you hang around a bunch of broke people, then you're going to be a broke person too. If you hang around a bunch of fat people, you're going to be a fat person too. If you hang around a bunch of depressed people, then you are going to be a depressed person too. Whenever you are changing your life, you also need to change your environment. And a large part of changing your environment is the people that you are around, because when you are around people who are doing lackluster things, you being slightly less lackluster will lead you to believe that you were truly doing something. Back in the day when I was super broke and had a bunch of super broke friends who were only doing a bunch of super broke stuff, and I started doing slightly better than I was before, which meant that I was doing slightly better than them. I had slightly more money. I had a slightly nicer car, or a car period. Some of them didn't even have cars. I felt like I was really doing it. I felt like I was really winning at life. But it's not because I was doing anything that amazing. It's because they were doing that poorly. And that contrast led me to believe that I was out here killing it. And if I had just stayed around them, then I would have been happier at a much lesser level, because they were down here on level 1 and I got up to level 3, and therefore I thought, ooh, I'm winning. But when I was at level 3 and I got around people on level 6, I thought, ooh, I really need to step my game up, because I want to be where it is that they are. I want to rise to their level. Excuse me. But a lot of people are happy being the big fish in the little pond, so to speak, because they never have to deal with the reality that they're not actually a big fish, just that all of the other fish around them are tiny. But if you want to be the big fish for real, then you need to get around the other big fish, so you can see that you are not as big of a fish as you believe yourself to be. And that will allow you to grow, and it will also show you that it is possible for you to grow, that these things are achievable. Who it is that you surround yourself with is incredibly important, and losers hang around with losers for a reason. Like attracts like, and it is not until you get around better people that they will push you to be better, because nobody wants to be around people who are doing worse than them. This is why you don't see a group of successful people with a broke drug addict friend, because they will, all that person will do is drag them down to their level. But when you get around people who are actually doing stuff, everybody pushes each other, and you see their accomplishments, and that motivates you to add to your own list of accomplishments, so you can not just be dead weight there, or whatever the case may be. Your comfort zone at the end of the day is the killer of your dreams, and it is the enemy of your success, because by definition, if you are comfortable somewhere, that means that you are used to being there, and you can never grow that way, because growth requires that you do things that you have not done before, which by default is going to make you uncomfortable. And a lot of times that will be being around brand new people. If you have a bunch of loser friends, however it sounds, you need to cut them off, because all they're going to do is hold you back. If they are not helping you, they are hurting you. If they are not encouraging you to be better, then they are encouraging you to be worse. Maybe not directly, but the fact that they are not pushing you forward means that they are dragging you down. There is no such thing as staying the same. There is no such thing as, what's the thing that people like to say, maintaining. You are growing, or you are, it's the opposite of growing, shrinking. Metaphorically so. I don't know. Who cares? If you're not growing, then you are shrinking. That's the word that we are going to use here, because staying the same, as people like to look at it, is really just further ingraining yourself into a position that you don't want to be in. If you're someone who smokes and you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, and then the next day you smoke another pack of cigarettes, sure, you technically didn't do anything worse and you did the exact same thing, but that same pack of cigarettes has just reinforced and strengthened your habit, which is going to make it harder for you to quit when you realize that you should, which in essence is pulling you backwards and is getting you farther into the hole that you are going to one day need to climb out of. And that is what these mediocre people that you surround yourself with are doing, because they make you feel comfortable being where it is that you are. They make you feel comfortable making slightly more than them. If all of your friends make $11 an hour and you start making $12 an hour, well, now you're the most rich one of your friends, relatively speaking anyway, and it seems like you're actually doing something. But if you're only making $12 an hour and you get around somebody who's making $60, $70, $80, $90, $100 an hour, then you realize that you could be doing so much more and that you need to step your game up. And then you get around people who are making thousands of dollars per hour, then you realize that you could step your game up even more, and you see all of the things that are possible. I know that there are people who strive to make $100,000 a year, and they think that that's a lot of money, and at one point in time I did too, until I got around somebody who made $100,000 yesterday. That showed me that there was such a higher level that I could be living at, and that is exactly what it is that you need. Again, if you have the right mentality, because with the wrong one, that will discourage you and that will poison you and will prevent you from ever doing anything, because you're just going to take on a woe is me take and, oh man, my life is so hard and everything is so unfair. But that is not a result of the people that you are around. That is not a result of what it is that you are seeing. That is a result of your perspective, and that is a victim one. And if you have a victim perspective, then everything will make your life seem worse. But if you have the right perspective, then all of these things that other people cry about will push you to do more. People cry about seeing the people doing good on social media, and they're like, oh, it makes me feel so bad about your life. That's because you are a victim. If you have the right mentality, then seeing the people on social media who are doing better than you will push you to do more, because you see that you could be doing better. You see that your little Honda isn't anything and you could be driving around in a Phantom. You see that your little biceps aren't anything and you can have much bigger arms. You see that your little house isn't anything and you can have a much bigger house. Whatever the case may be, all of that is perspective based. So if you find yourself looking at someone doing better than you and that makes you feel bad for yourself and that doesn't motivate you to do more, it is because you have the perspective of a victim. And the first thing that you need to do is switch that mentality and start looking at it in a completely different light. Someone doing better than you is proof that you could do more. Someone accomplishing greater than you is proof that you could accomplish greater. So switch your perspective and then switch your circle.